There's a new audio interface in town with a headphone amplifier that competes with interfaces costing 10 times the price. But how does the new Topping E2X2 compare to the most popular interface under £200? Hi, I'm Ed Thorne, professional drummer, mix engineer, and audio YouTuber. It's good to see you. Now, you'd be forgiven for not knowing who Topping are, but they are taking the audiophile world by storm. Topping are a Chinese brand creating high-quality headphone amplifiers and digital-to-analog converters, and the E2X2 is one of a range of new audio interfaces they're breaking into the home studio market with. Now, many of you are probably thinking,
nah, Chinese made means cheap and crap.
Now, sadly, yes, Amazon has been ruined by cheap, flimsy, crap-sounding Chinese knockoffs infringing on Western patents, but the world of chi-fi is shifting. Topping combines incredible headphone amplifier performance and conversion specifications with Chinese manufacturing costs while insisting on reliability and good build quality. Their designated DACs and headphone amps, such as the very affordable E30 and L30, measure impressively well against far more expensive units on Amir's Audio Science review website. The Topping E2X2 on the face of it is a pretty standard looking desktop audio interface. Bus or mains powered via USB-C cable, 24-bit, 192 kHz sample rate, 20 to 40 kHz frequency range, TRS jack monitor outputs, 48 volts phantom power, input and output monitor metering, and a single headphone amplifier. This specification comparison chart is available to download for free in the free members area of my website, link below. You can also find this round-trip latency chart to compare it against all of these interfaces too. 2 microphone, line and high-Z combination inputs on the front host 58 decibels of native gain, with an additional 20 decibels of digital gain available in the Topping control application, where in addition to the onboard direct monitoring, we can independently mix and monitor 4 loopback channels and 6 DAW channels, much like the Audient ID series monitoring system, which I think sets that interface apart from all the other interfaces in this price bracket. So for Topping, this looks promising. As I've said, Topping have become highly respected for their high performance and ultra-low distortion headphone amplifiers. I own their DX7 Pro Plus DAC and headphone amp, and the audio clarity, output power, and virtually zero distortion is seriously impressive and performs better than any interface I own. The E2X2 has inherited the Topping headphone amp lineage and hosts an ultra-low distortion headphone amplifier even at maximum output levels. The Topping has an output impedance of just 1 ohm, the lower the better in this case. To put this in perspective, the Audient ID series has an output impedance of about 30 ohms and the Scarlett of 50 ohms. As a result of this low impedance output, the Topping has nearly 5 times the output power at 300 ohms and 18 times the power at 32 ohms than the Scarlett. In standard mode, the Topping and Scarlett's performance is similar, but the Topping has gain mode which boosts the amplifier by 17 decibels, making this a very loud headphone amplifier. Now I hear some of you shouting,
Loud is not necessarily better.
And I agree, you're right, but the Topping also delivers the lowest noise and distortion I've heard on any audio interface. Even against my Apollo X6 cranked to full, they put out the same level, but the Apollo falls apart. Now at 100%, the Topping does start shaking a little bit, but backed off to 95, it is loud and clear, where the Apollo needs backing off about 10%. So this interface is competing with a £2,000 interface. To add to this controversy, even against the Neumann MT48, in terms of output, noise, and distortion, this interface competes. It is remarkable. In terms of sound quality, the Gen 4 Scarlett was vastly improved with an upgrade to Focusrite's Redneck converters, delivering an extra 5 decibels of dynamic range to the D to A conversion. Now, I dare say this is actually audible on initial peak transients, but without A being the two side by side, I don't think you're going to miss this on the Topping. Sonically, these are very similar. Like the Gen 4, the Topping has high quality conversion. I feel the Scarlett has a fraction more sub-bass content, and the Topping has a mid-range presence at 300 with octaves at 600 also prominent. This is a similar story on the recordings you'll hear later, making me think this is converter related. High-resolution copies of the following audio files you're about to hear can be downloaded for free on my website for closer listening. The acoustic and vocals are identical parts, but I made a bit of a mistake when I recorded the bass audio for this demo. I recorded the audio examples from my Scarlett and ID14 and Scarlett video here, and for this interface on the same session, and for some reason we recorded a different part for the Topping on the bass, so they're not identical parts, which I know is not ideal for comparison. I'm sorry about that, but you'll get the idea. Troll me in the comments about that. It's good for the video engagement, so cheers. The Topping sounds more mid-range forward than the Scarlett, with a slight lift about 300 Hz. I'm getting more 100 to 200 out of the bass guitar on the Scarlett. This was similar to the headphone amplifier, so as I said, I suspect this is a characteristic of the conversion. These are very close again on the acoustic, but I'm getting slightly more lows from the Scarlett again. The main difference I can hear is a slight detuning of the guitar on the Topping take. Oops.
You're my decaffeinated love, giving me everything you've got. It's never enough, you're trying, but I'm afraid I just don't buzz. I don't feel much. You're my decaffeinated love, giving me everything you've got. It's never enough, you're trying, but I'm afraid I just don't buzz. I don't feel much.
Now, the main difference for me on the vocals is the airiness and high frequency content in the top end of the Topping. This was recorded without using air mode on the Scarlett, which would add top end to the EQ, rising gently from 1K to a 4 dB boost at 10K. So you could add this back in, but fundamentally the Topping is delivering a more open and spacious sound. Now, I noticed a similar difference in my Scarlett versus ID14 video here, so I think this is a characteristic of digital preamps. Listen for yourself and let me know what you think in the comments on that video. Now, there's a lot of competition in this price bracket, but it is the headphone amplifier that sets this interface apart from all the others, and apart by a long way. I think this is the future of budget-friendly audio interface development. In general, in this range, the preamps are all relatively good. They're certainly very acceptable, but most interfaces lack power in the headphone amplifier and introduce too much harmonic distortion when turned up loud, if they can go loud enough. The E2X2 breaks this mold here and is a refreshing upgrade for headphone amplifiers. My prediction is Topping will release a higher-end audio interface with their top-of-the-line conversion, even higher-spec headphone amplifiers, and hopefully a better preamp as and when they take off in the marketplace. Watch my ID14 versus Scarlett Gen 4 comparison here if you're interested in those interfaces. If you need your songs mixing, I'm available to do that as well. Check out before and after examples on my website. I've been Ed Thorne. It's been emotional. Thanks for watching.